Welcome back, everybody. It's been a while. I've taken pretty much the summer off because it's just too hot to be outside here. But tonight we bring you a Sunday night knife fight. So we have the AA Forge Sloyd versus the Adventure Sworn Woodcrafter. Sorry, I almost called it Woodcarver again. Woodcrafter. These knives are actually pretty much identical. Differences you're going to see mostly are the Sloyd here has a thicker handle than the Adventure Sworn. The Adventure Sworn has a slightly longer handle than the Sloyd. They're both 3/32 01 tool steel, both about the same blade length. The biggest difference between these is that the Adventure Sworn is a 12.5 degree per side Scandi, where the AA Forge is a 15 degree per side Scandi. So we're going to go ahead and put these through a ton of tests. We're going to do a quick paper slice just to show you what our edges look like right now. So this should be pretty good. Of course, now I can't do it on camera. Bear with me. Very awkward angle, which probably isn't going to lend very well to this, but there we go. So that's the Adventure Sworn, and put this around here. This is the AA. So these are the edges that we're starting with, which are absolutely excellent edges. As the rain starts to kick in, basically what I'm going to say, this one I have the most experience with, the Adventure Sworn Woodcrafter. I've had it for the longest. This one I just received yesterday, so this is going to be kind of like a first use video as well. So let's take these down, let's get some stuff out, and we're going to do some batoning and feather sticking to start with. So I guess the first thing to do is we'll do some feather sticking, or actually we'll have to do some batoning before we can feather stick. So I have some poplar here. We're going to go ahead and break down one piece of poplar for each knife. Now of course 3/32 is not ideal for this. This is something I'd use a primary belt knife for. Take this one, break this down a little bit more. Break this down one more time. And we'll just go ahead and do the other same thing with the AA. This will probably be for the Adventure Sworn. Whichever log has nicer pieces, whichever stick has nicer pieces, is the one that I'm going to go. If this is probably the biggest stuff you're going to break down. Yeah, this one's pretty punky inside, so yeah, we might be able to get away with this. So my predictions here are I'm going to have a very hard time choosing a winner between these two. Okay, did great. This is kind of punky. I'm going to go ahead and take that off to the side. And I guess I'll use these two pieces for feather sticking. Take our Adventure Sworn. So this is going to be sharper, this is going to be a more aggressive Scandi. Nice edge to work on here. It's going to be thinner, sharper. But that edge is going to be more fragile as well. So this knife feels really good in the hand. I have lots of control. full blade. Really nice curls off of here. Some thicker ones, some thinner ones. And Adventure Sworn definitely makes very, very high quality knives. Heirloom pieces, of course. A lot of my knives will one day be passed down to my children, but only if they know how to respect knives. So kids, if one day you're watching this wondering why you don't have this knife, either it was sold or you don't know how to respect my tools. So I'm starting to get into some wormy sections here, but this is doing really, really well. So yeah, this will work. This is now kind of wormy and buggy, so I'm going to pull out there. Overall, that knife feels great. The only thing the AA might have going for it is the handle's a little bit bigger, the handle's a little bit shorter. And why would I want a shorter handle is, let's clean that edge up, is when I'm doing a chest lever grip, I don't want that back of that handle to hit my ribs. Sometimes that happens with knives with longer handles. I'm going to flip this around and go on this side. Sometimes if you're not getting the curls you want, try a different section of the wood. This one also feels great. The edge off of this was absolutely amazing. Probably one of the sharpest out of the box edges I've ever felt. Definitely peel off some nice big curls. Not getting as fine of a shaving, and I think that's just because of the different edge angle. I can start to get there. Nice little shaving, but it doesn't stay. And I think that's the difference that you're going to mostly see between that 15-degree convex and that 15-degree Scandi and that 12.5-degree per side Scandi is shavings like this, where these are a little bit thicker, chunkier, not as thin. And I'm sure with more practice I can get pretty close. But honestly, these shavings are going to be just as good. They're going to light on fire, basically, and we're gonna test that with these knives. This is basically one of those knives that I've gotten for woodcraft, firecraft. So basically all the tasks that I'm going to be doing in this video is stuff that I would expect these knives to be able to do anyway. So I think possibly a little bit more resistance with this one on cutting, but that different edge angle is going to give you a more durable edge at the end of the day. So this one we might actually see more edge retention off of. Alright, we're going to stop there. So we have a nice feather stick there, and a nice feather stick here. Some chunkier, bigger feathers, some smaller, wispier feathers. And we got to grab our fire steel. And we're going to light these things. I don't like using the spine of my knives, but in a case where I have to, because I do carry fire steel, extra fire steels, or usually fire steels with my knives, it might be a possibility. And since these are designated as kind of a firecraft knife, I definitely want to make sure that these are able to do it. There we go. Over into the fire pit. Cool, so that did absolutely great, and I'm going to check on my spine. Usually what happens, or my feelings are, that on some steel, some knives, the ferro rod chews up the back of that knife. So same ferro rod, different knife. The curls from the AA. Let's go ahead and plant this on in here. I thought we were there. There we go. So both have really, really good sharp spines. See, those thicker curls take a little bit longer to light, give you a little bit different burn time. And again, we'll check on our spine here. And it looks great. Actually, this one I can see on here, and you won't be able to see on camera. I can see on there where I've struck it. Let me look back on the Adventure Sworn. I can see it too. So eventually, yeah, you'll round over and you'll dull these spines. My one test was fat wood scraping, but if it can scrape a fire steel, it's going to scrape fat wood. Not necessarily the other way around. So a nice little thing is, like, if you have something, a piece of branch maybe this size, you don't have your saw on you, you don't want to get your saw. One thing I think a knife should be able to do is, with some push assists, is beaver chew through the wood. So we're going to beaver chew through, snap, great. It works. You know, all knives will cut, all knives will do these tasks, it's just how well will they do it is the question. This AA feels like it chews through a little bit easier. Okay, awesome. Transition to the ground. Started to like sitting on the ground, actually. I'm gonna go ahead and make a little toggle here. I'm just gonna cut in here, round off this edge. Now I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna clean this up. That's the one thing, if you beaver chew through, you gotta end up knowing that you need a little bit more material to clean up. That looks good. Right? And now it's a little really short toggle, it's a lot longer. It's gonna be a little bit more difficult. The tip is really nice. Step in there. Sometimes I'll work, or I'll mostly always work around one side of the stick and then go back and do the other side. So really no issues here whatsoever. If you're a carver, you're not going to like this knife because these spines are sharp. So if you're looking at this solely for a carving knife, you could get it, but you want to round that spine off because it does dig into your thumb after a while. Really quick down and dirty toggle works. Stick this off to the side. So now we're going to come through the Adventure Sworn. This one looks out because it has, this is the end that I cut with the saw. Damn, this thing seems to bite a lot better. It's that grind angle though. You know, I don't know if these are heat treated the same. It's the same steel. Why Adam chooses to do a 15-degree spine, 15-degree per side Scandi, and Adventure Sworn decides to go shallower, I'm not really sure. But this definitely felt, in here cleaning all this up, definitely felt a lot better. Right now, doing a little toggle test. Same area of the blade. The Adventure Sworn. It's got a good feel going on. And you know, it honestly could be because I've used this knife a lot more, but these knives are so similar that it's hard to believe that I'd have much of an issue here. God, this knife just feels so good. It's so thick in the hand. Another little down and dirty toggle. It works. And I have no doubt that these knives can do any task you really want to put them up against. Obviously, you're not going to baton a 10-inch log or something with them, but you know, tasks that they're designed to do. Toggles did great. We now move on to 10 stakes. 10 stakes, same wood. I believe it's maple. One's just a little bit bigger than the other. And this is where you're really going to see the difference. Is here where you're going to be doing heavier work. We will just do the Adventure Sworn. See, in this grip here, when you're going like this, you're doing that lever. That's kind of where this handle jabs me in the ribs. Now, ideally, I would have a hatchet, and I would do most of the shaping with a hatchet. Come in here. This is maple. This is some tough stuff to get through. This is making beautiful curls. It's just a lot of work to get there. Let's see how this edge is getting hung up here. It's biting so deeply. And we're almost there. Yeah, good enough. I have wood chips in my hair. So there, chamfer our top here. So, nice chamfered top. If I went to go hammer it into the ground, I'd want my notch on this side. Arc a section of this for a notch. Roll that back and forth. Way up into here. Pick a different wood next time other than maple. It's performing great though. Really, no complaints. That's good enough. That holds a piece of cordage in there. Alright, let's do the AA Forge. To this side. Ooh, this feels really good. I still get that rib hit, so I don't think there's, I think that can't be avoided. Maybe if I hold up higher and hit the side of my chest. This one doesn't bite as deep. The Adventure Sworn I felt like was throwing much larger curls on. Yeah, and where the Adventure Sworn, where I really couldn't go like this because it would dive in because of that thinner skin. This one I have just a bit more control over. The Adventure Sworn I felt like I was putting more effort into. It's because I was just taking off bigger pieces of wood. Alright, go. Chamfer off the top. So while the Adventure Sworn definitely bites deeper, I still like the AA Forge. So if I hammer this into the ground this way, this side. It's the phase of good enough. So I was going to do a pot hook, pot hanger, but I already know both these knives are going to be able to do it, and they're going to do great at it. So we're going to take both of these to what they're really designed to do, and that's carve. So I have this super rough spatula blank, and I'm going to work on it for a few minutes, both sides, and I'm going to set myself a timer so we don't go too long. And we're going to work at both sides, and I'm going to get a really good feel for how both these knives handle. So I'm basically going to work and focus on the neck area here. This is where you need like a lot of tip control and a lot of carving. So I'm just going to come in here. This is a semi-green cherry. So I'm no expert at carving. I'm not an expert level carver at all. I just do basic camp things. Some spatulas, some basic spoons. So I've done a lot with this one. I've done a spoon and a spatula. I probably attempted a few other things that I had to bail out on. So overall, this one is, I love this knife, really. Honestly though, I don't think you can go wrong with either one of them. think they're both absolutely amazing for what they are and what the price point is. I think these are some of the most evenly matched knives out there. And it all just depends on what you want to use them for. This one feels absolutely awesome. Doing continuous line here. So I'll switch back here. I wanted to do one side and one side, but this one feels great. So we're going to try to do a quick sharpness test here. It's been kind of damp and rainy, so I don't know how well this paper is going to cut. There we go. Perfect. No loss of edge retention, or no loss of edge. This one, again, perfect. Test. That's how I've been storing them during this whole test. It's just stabbing them in. Perfect. No issues at all with any of these tests. Not like one of these degraded or anything like that. So let's take it down to the stump. Biggest question is who won, right? I can't pick one, honestly. They're both absolutely amazing knives. They both feel absolutely awesome. The biggest drawback is, or the biggest difference, not even a drawback, is the difference in the grind. And that's just enough. Like if this one was sharpened at the same angle that this one was, or vice versa, then you'd be able to be, then they would be perfectly matched and there would be nothing, there would be no way to compare them, no way to pick a winner. Adam has knocked it out of the park with his design and execution. Adventure Sworn, design and execution, knocked it out of the park. Nothing I would change, honestly, on either knife. Design-wise, I wish I picked a different color handle scale, to be honest. But other than that, that's it. That's the only thing I wish was different with this one. I love the heat treat finish on this. I love the flat, or the satin flats on this. So you can't, and they're both all one, like I can't choose between either of them. There's no significant edge damage. They're both going to be super easy to resharpen. They pretty much have the same exact blade shape. This one's a little bit thinner of a handle. This one's a little bit thicker of a handle. This one, I think when it comes down to like carving a spatula or a spoon, is a little bit more comfortable. This one, though, here's the difference that I can see, alright, is this one is very, very carving oriented. That thinner edge, you're basically meant to carve with this blade. This one, with the slightly thicker edge, the lower Scandi grind, is going to lend itself more to the bushcraft, campcraft kind of carving, where this will probably lend itself better to even finer carvings like that. Spoons, spatulas, probably not bowls or portions of bowls, but they're both going to do great with notches. They're both going to be amazing at either one. You can't go wrong with either one of these. There isn't one that's better than another. I would say go with what you can find. These definitely should be in 3/32. They shouldn't exist in 1/8. There might be some of them out there in 1/8, but if you're planning on carving, you want to get these in 3/32 Scandi, in my opinion anyway. Just because it's for wood carving. Anyway, so that is Sunday Night Knife Fight. It is a draw. There is nothing that one of these knives does significantly better than the other. They're both amazing. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you made it all the way through the episode. If you guys like this kind of stuff, go ahead and subscribe, like, share, comment, and I'll be back with more. Very exciting stuff coming up in the future. Some Scandi versus convex battles, where it's going to be two of the same knife, as close as I can possibly get those specs, and it's going to be same exact task, identical tasks, Scandi versus convex, longer, more tests, more rigorous, and we're going to see who wins. So, thanks again guys, and I'll see you next time.